When I was 6 years old, he was born. We knew from what the doctor had told us that there was going to be something wrong with him, but we didn't care. We wrote our own family rules saying that we would never treat him as unequal and we would always love him. Once he was born, we all got used to having to take care of this new family member, who never moved or did anything by himself. But one bright sunny afternoon in the fall, Doodle looked up at me and smiled. I started screaming, "He smiled, he smiled! My little brother just smiled!" I began to run around telling the whole family what had just happened. Soon enough, Doodle started to move on his own. He would crawl, but when he crawled, he would always crawl backwards. That's when I decided to give William the nickname Doodle. Doodle was a name that just made you want to laugh and lowered people's expectations for my little brother. That's why I gave him the nickname.
I'm gonna call you Doodle. I think that's a good name.
As time passed and the family realized that Doodle still does not show any signs of walking, Dad and I decided to build him a go-kart. This was truly an amazing step for Doodle. Doodle and I could finally adventure off together and do everything we ever wanted to do, just like real brothers. Once I realized that Doodle was a speed demon, I began to pull him faster and faster on his new set of wheels. Sometimes I would pull him so fast he would fly off, but I would always apologize and beg him not to tell Mom.
Don't tell Mom!
Okay, let's go.
One day in the spring, Doodle and I were down at Old Woman Swamp. We were sitting underneath a pine tree when I told him that I was going to teach him to walk. At first he refused, until I told him that it was for his own good. I told him that I would not always be there to pull him around, and that's when he agreed to learn how. That day, I held him up and let him stand, but he just collapsed. I did that some more with the same results, but we never gave up. I kept heaving him up, then letting him fall, time after time after time. As we watched weeks pass by, we pushed on, never losing hope. Finally, one sunny afternoon, he stood for just a few seconds. Then he fell onto the ground. We both exploded with joy. He was so grateful to finally get a taste of what it was like to walk. We did this days on end until he finally learned to walk for real. When Doodle finally got up by himself and walked to a tree where I was standing, this was the best moment of our lives. He could do it. He could finally walk. After eating dinner one night, Doodle and I took off for Horseshoe Landing to try and teach him how to do normal activities before the start of the new school year so he can have some nice friends. After Doodle's boat training, I looked up and noticed dark rain clouds beginning to form with flashes of lightning shooting across the sky. We hurried to pull the boat up on the grass as it started to rain. I began to run with Doodle struggling to keep up. I soon lost sight of him but never stopped running. I ran for a long time until I could not hear him anymore. I turned to go back for him, and when I found him, he was running in circles, jumping up and down in some puddles formed by the rain. Doodle and I decided to wait under a tree until the storm passed. I was happy to see Doodle alive and well because even though he can't do everything like I can, he is still family and I will always treat him like family.
Come on, let's go home. Doodle?